What if the answers you've been searching for have been inside you all along? Welcome to Insights with Purpose, the power of inner wisdom. We're Hemali and Sheila, two friends on two continents, having the conversations that bring us closer to the truth of who we are. No scripts, just real talk. Pull up a seat.
Today, we're talking about what happens when you've spent most of your life letting everyone else tell you who you are. Teachers, gurus, parents, society, even Google. We're getting honest about the moments we handed over our inner authority and what it took to start trusting ourselves again. If you've ever felt like it's easier to let someone else decide for you than to figure out what's actually yours, stay with us. You might walk away realizing the only authority you ever needed was yours.
So, last episode, we talked about spiritual beliefs, talked about religion, and asking the whys, the big questions, in order to find our spiritual authenticity. Today, we're going to talk about the authority within and what it means to outsource your inner knowing, relying on external validation in order to provide inner validation, and how to return home to yourself after you've spent most of your life relying on that external source. So I am so happy we're here, and I can't wait to see where this goes.
Same here. This is such a big topic, conversation, whatever you call it for me. I am many times I've been in the state of confusion, and this understanding or questioning whether to have. I grew up in India. As we talked about in last episode, we were talking about religion and spirituality. And in India, you have gurus and you have priests and that middle person to reach that the divine or come back to yourself to guide you. I always question like the gurus. I question, why do we need it? Why do we need them? And there is this something within me that does not agree with it at times. And so, I've explored this topic quite a bit. I have thought about it a lot in terms of, first of all, what is guru and what does it mean in terms of in language, right? What does guru means? And gu means expelling of darkness or darkness of ignorance, dispelling. And ignorance, when they talk about ignorance, is that ignorance of who you are. So not knowing, not having that knowledge of who you are. That's self-realization. And that's what gu means. And then ru means a form, like bringing in the light. So someone that brings in the light within you and dispels all the darkness of ignorance, darkness of not knowing who you are. But at the same time, what I've found myself throughout years of exploring and experimenting, it's like I've found that I am someone that I'm intuitively guided to, guru or a teacher that explains certain things to me. And then at times, then it's time for me to move on to the next, to someone else. And so I've kind of gathered information from different teachers and different teachings, different perspectives, and then bringing all that in and then having my own explanation, actually breaking that down and asking the question, does this sit well with me? Does this work with me? I have gone to few here in US. I've gone to some, and I don't want to name names, but I've gone to some conferences or a talk session of certain gurus, and I've listened to him on YouTube and Google and online, I should say. And at some point, the message came across and I was able to connect with it. But when I went in person, although I was sitting, and I took a friend, although I was sitting all the way up on the like third tier, almost the last row, it was just, there was a disconnection. The feeling of, I don't connect with the message. I don't connect with the teacher. Also, later on, a few other videos, it's like if you, as a guru, someone who is teaching and really bringing a bridge between the divine and us students, so to speak, this person is sometimes makes fun of other beliefs, the way they're doing things, the way they say certain things. And it makes me wonder because, again, in this, there, I am looking for someone that has no judgment or criticism of any of that, like anything. Because we all, even him himself, as human being, we all have our good, bad, and uglies, our darkness, our dark side, and our good sides. So who am I or who are you to judge?
Yeah.
What is right, what is wrong. So I think that that kind of really turned me off
Hmm.
towards him. And so really it's about someone that helps you navigate through this jungle of life, so to speak.
Yeah.
And a lot of Indian scriptures talk about the need for a guru, a need for a guide. Sometimes that's why you're like um, exploring outside and you want to go from different places, different things. Do you connect? Do you belong? Do you relate with the messages that are coming through? And I've found myself that more than few times, like I connect with the teachings. I look to connect with the teachings more than so with the person that is bringing. And absolutely, I am grateful to them for those teachings and messages that hits home, that brings that peace and deep understanding within myself, or remembrance, I would say, within myself. But yes, definitely. Also, they talk about, guru is like, but no matter what, if you're following, if you want to understand anything, first of all, you have to surrender with humility to that person. Put aside your ego, and then you can understand and see whether you connect or not. So I don't know if you've ever found that, but that is one topic that I've struggled with and I've really thought deeply into it.
Yeah, that's really deep,
Yeah.
actually. It's one of the things that we don't think about often or on our day to day.
Mhm.
But if you think about like society as it stands right now, we are constantly handing our inner authority over to external circumstances, external beliefs, external mirrors, gurus, teachers, parents, family members, friends, Google,
Yeah.
TikTok,
Right.
right? We are constantly handing over that sense of, I know what's true for me, right? And we continuously look to, what is that person doing? What are they talking about? Why am I not feeling the same? Why don't I resonate with that message?
Yeah.
Why is it not landing for me? Right. And I don't remember when I handed down that authority. I don't remember who received it, but I know for a long time there was no internal compass within me that told me, you're all right. You're
Mhm.
right where you're supposed to be. Because from when I can remember, the grown-ups had the last say.
Yeah.
The teachers knew better.
Absolutely.
My friends dictated how I felt around, do I look good? Do I look bad? Right? Is she pretty? Is she not pretty? Is she a little cuckoo? Right? It was always external.
Yeah.
So for me, I always experience this passing over or handing over of authority from very early on. And it wasn't until I began to explore the inner world, my inner temple, that I began to understand what that word teacher, guru, means. And a teacher, Master Jesus, for me, illuminated what was hidden within me. He was able to show me where I still needed healing and forgiveness of others and forgiveness of self. He illuminated how to behave towards others, but mostly to myself. Also, giving me the understanding that how I moved about the world had everything to do about the world within me. So that aspect of handing over shifted. But again, I was leaning on his teachings, I was leaning on his guidance, until one day the practice, so much repetition. Sheila, where are you putting your external guidance into, became my practice. And I could say, hold on, this doesn't resonate. I will take this part, but not this part. That's what it means when it says, take what resonates with you and leave the rest. It doesn't matter. It's about resonance. I still will listen to people that I don't resonate with their entire message or methodology, but they highlight for me areas where I can still expand, where I can still go, I wonder where I fit into that. I wonder where I'm at. And I love that. I'm a very curious person. I'll continue to say it. I ask lots of questions. So when I find a message that doesn't land, that doesn't really belong to my beingness, I question it. I rarely just scroll past or put the book away or stop listening. I want to know more because more often than not, there's a jewel there for me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that is the part of where handing down my authority when I was little, up until Jesus said, here I am, in 2020, where it became more internal authority again for me. But I absolutely understand where you're coming from when you're like, there is this teaching. I resonate to the teaching more so than the person, right?
And it's not that I don't resonate with the person, I do, but not to the point where I am going to. There is something with me about, and it goes back to the story of, these priests, so to speak, coming home and then bowing to them, touching their feet. It's a very Indian custom, getting their blessing, so to speak. But I have hard time with that with certain people. It's like, I don't know you. Yes, you pray to God all the time, and it would be great. Like, that energy would be transferred into me, that positive energy, whatever that belief is in terms of that. But sometimes it's hard for me. And I stopped questioning why. Um, but I think it may also go back to my early days. As far as I remember, I think I remember since I started school, I have not had good experience in school system with teachers. And I've been to the point where my self-worth, self-esteem, it was like crushed. You ask a bird to swim in the ocean, and vice versa. You ask the fish to fly, that doesn't happen. And yeah, so I've had deep traumas, and I'm still working through it, um, in terms of that. And so that feeling of not being enough, and giving away your authority, giving away, allowing them to say who I am, what I am, and then repeating it, because you hear it so many times that you start believing it and you start living it. So I think that really, I'm weary of people, and so it takes me a while to
Yeah.
understand and connect with teachers. And I feel my life, every moment is a teaching, right? It's a teacher. A moment is a teacher. Time is teacher. And definitely, I mean, my kids are my teachers. It's like you can get teaching from anything and anyone.
Yeah. And sometimes it feels like it's easier to give that away, right? Especially as you're
Yeah.
growing up and you don't have to invest on like who you are because they've
Yes,
decided who you are. So
that's right.
had they decided I'm gonna step off, I'm gonna let them assume what they believe of me as true,
Yeah.
because that is easier than fighting the narrative. That is easier than, in the midst of not knowing who you are yourself,
Yeah.
fighting for a particular place in a particular system, whether that is a school, whether it's in the household with your family and your parents, whether that is at a job, right? Sometimes it
Yeah.
is easier to just say, I will let it go. it's okay. They'll believe what they'll believe and done. And
Yeah.
I think we don't notice how that fracture of the true self and the let them believe what they will believe, how that injures our ability to reconnect to our inner guidance and our intuition, and takes away our ability to say, this is fully mine.
Yeah.
Because we have handed down our power or agreed to whatever the story was, that when it comes time to stand for your belief, to stand for who you are, you're like, wait, who am I?
Yeah.
All these stories have been around about me. All these things have been said or shared or believed, but who am I really? And I think that's when everything starts turning, because at some point in time, you're going to have to make decisions that rely solely on you, and you're going to have to be led either internally, the
Yeah.
best way, or externally, right? So we can talk about this for a very lengthy amount of time, because
Absolutely.
there are so many pathways that this can go into. And there's so much confusion about, if I have a guru, if I have a teacher, am I signing away my own inner knowing and
Hmm.
truth by following in that teacher's path? And it wasn't true for me. I take the teachings and I apply them, but I still question the why I'm doing something. I still go to, is this resonance for me? Am I still finding resonance? Is this still true? You know, I'm not blindly following into a particular teaching, belief system, guru. I am always exploring what is true for me at the end of the day. And it's funny because you don't think you can do that. You don't think you can sit and be like, let me question this teaching Master Jesus brought to Mount Sinai, right? Let me question it. Because it doesn't come from a place of I am doubting it. It comes from a place I fully want to understand. I fully want to receive. I fully want to internalize it, so then I can move from that space, you know? And I don't know, it's just like, I can't question this. I can't
Yeah.
question this authority, this external thing, where so many people are just like, we talked about this earlier, you just follow the book. You just
Yeah.
follow the book. You just follow the book. But yeah, it's interesting to know, as I've gotten more comfortable with the questionings, that I can question and I can visualize what is mine, what is the teacher's perspective, what is the actual teaching, and how do I move forward from that for myself, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, this is like I said, it's a big one for me for sure. At some point I was even telling people before I even started a relation, like just having a friend, like already tell them that I know nothing, I amount to nothing, in certain way. They're already telling them, so then they don't even have to work hard to know who I am. Let me just tell you about me, how
Yeah.
worthless I am. How bad does it sound, right? Already. So, let me ask you, like, what did it feel to you? How did it feel when you disconnect from
Hmm.
yourself or disconnect from or giving away the authority? How does it feel in your body?
Numb is the biggest thing I can describe. I spent a lot of my childhood from age 11 until around 19, if not more, fully dissociated from reality. Everything externally was dictating my life. What I did, how I dressed, what I ate, everything. It was all external, and internally it felt empty. A huge void. Not a thing was enough,
Hmm.
right? I didn't belong anywhere. No label fit me. I felt as though I was a balloon someone let go of, and it went right up in the sky, and I belonged to nothing. Not in the sense of unity, right? Because that is also true for unity, but in the sense of I am completely desolate. And those were my biggest years of struggle, because I couldn't determine for myself what my path was, what my truth was. You know, I didn't fit in. It was not easy to peg me. So I tried on many, many different people. I would try them on. I would talk to people and take on their accent. I would
Hmm.
start dressing like my friends. I would try to mold myself into spaces I didn't fit or didn't fit me. just so I could find that sense of belonging, you know? So being separated from my inner guidance, from that wisdom that we all are born with, left me completely and utterly desolate.
I think I resonate so much with that, especially dissociation from the world and not belonging. I find myself, if I truly want to say that when I really started feeling that I belong, it's like when I learned to belong to myself. And that could be like just few years ago. And I'm 53. So it took me a long time to understand what that means. Um, but growing up, I was just very observant,
Hmm.
very quiet, shy. You won't even know I'm there sometimes. I'm just merged with the wall, with a chair,
Yes.
wherever I am, and just observe and learn from other people's mistakes. But what that gave me was that ability to see beyond actions, see beyond words, see beyond, like, see the energy. Now that I know, before I didn't know what I was seeing, but also learning from their mistakes, learning from us, like, definitely don't want to be in that. Like, I don't need to experience this myself,
Yeah.
right? It's like, some people they want to have experience and learn and from that, and why do I need to go through this, right?
You already did it and you failed. No, I don't want it.
No. Yeah, definitely not. And it always feels like, even when we're doing things, like, we always, why we look outside, it's like grass feels always greener on the other side, right?
Yes.
So it's like you're always looking for that. And so we come back to that, what we talked about in our other episodes, like coming back to self just brings everything together. And that, what does that mean and how do we get there, is when you start listening to yourself, that gut feeling that we've been given. God has gifted us with that GPS system within us,
Yeah.
right? It's like, listen to that, listen to me, that
And how
higher me.
Yeah, and how do you find that when you're
Hmm.
so disconnected and dissociated, right?
That's true.
Because you and I have known each other for years now, and we've gone through like trainings and we've gone through different things, modalities, right? And there's always this expectation
Yeah.
that you know what your intuition sounds like,
Yeah.
that you know is your inner wisdom. Like, yeah, that's it. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
I did not know what my own voice sounded like,
Yeah.
how what that inner guidance was, and you say, is that gut feeling? Well, that gut feeling is a lot of things. It was anxiety for a long time.
Yeah.
It was fear in my throat for a long time. I couldn't speak. So what does that feel like to drop into this is your intuition? How do you find that sweet spot between that's just something, my trauma, or wow, I'm feeling guidance? What does that feel like for you? I wonder, to feel, okay, this is that sweet spot. I'm in my intuition. This is guidance.
Yeah, it took me a long time. You always like, but this is me speaking. It's not my higher. Like, you're thinking, like, sometimes people say that, am I going to see a light coming through? Am I going to see flowers? What you watch in movies and things, right? And they joke about it, they make fun about it. Like, how do you channel? What does that mean? And it's like, is it me? Am I going crazy? Am I talking to myself?
Yeah.
And it's like, but it's my own voice. It's not
Yeah.
someone higher being. And I've talked to you about that too,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, but it's me. But yes, that's what your inner guidance
Yeah.
is, right? It is you.
Yeah.
And I feel like any higher information, guidance that comes through, is, I feel, is surrounded or is all in love. Like, there is no you have to, should, need to do, never, always. Those words are not used. There is no forcing. It's just that guidance that come through.
Yeah. I've definitely felt pushed though. I've
Yeah,
definitely felt pushed from like higher guidance
yeah,
to act on things, right?
absolutely.
To
Yeah,
move towards a path that is fully terrifying for my body,
Yeah.
like this podcast, or
Yes.
you stay in a sort of like limbo space and nothing really shifts until you take action. And how I differentiate guidance, whether it's channeled, whether it's tapped into, whether it's during meditation, it doesn't matter. I experience it the same way in my body. And it's always like an expansive swoosh, you know? It's always like this exhale, this energy, movement. And I know that it may sound like me, it may look like me, but it's higher in energetics. The frequency is different. When it's my mind, it's usually very egocentric.
Mm.
It is very much an I statement. It is very much forceful and constrictive. It's a punch in the gut. So higher guidance I experience as an exhalation. Otherwise, it's a punch in the gut. Fully. I'm stopped. It doesn't feel good. When my ego is talking, it tends to have a tendency for criticism that my higher guidance doesn't show me. It is, like you said, loving, right? It nudges you, but it's still loving and accepting and all encompassing. Whereas the ego feels very limiting. You either do this or this won't happen,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Very restrictive. And it puts into question everything I know about myself. And I know if I have to question or abandon myself, my true self, who I've come to know, then it's not higher mind, right?
Hmm.
Because the higher aspect of you, the Holy Spirit, the higher aspect, will never ask you to jeopardize who you are for anything,
Yeah.
right? So that's how I distinguish it. And it shows up clearly for me in the body, but that's something that comes with time. It wasn't something that I picked up right away. It was something that when I first had to do, oh Lord, what is the word? Intuition exercises,
Hmm.
right? It was, let's do this for 45 days. Let's just sit with this. Do I wear the jeans or do I wear the khakis and feel it in the body? Is it in my stomach? Do I feel expansive? Is it one before the other? And then don't question it. And the last thing, act on it and then let it go and live your life from that. Tap into that intuitive self. I used to go into the supermarket and stand by the fruit and close my eyes and go like, which fruit should I pick today? Until the answer came to me and then I would pick that fruit. But like it was very much exploratory like a child. That's just who I am. But it never crossed my mind to think like there's people watching. But it was important to me to really learn how to receive and how to trust and how to anchor and how to discern spirit from ego. Spirit shows up in my heart space, ego shows up in my mind. And when I can pick that up, it settles me. I become calm. I know what the actual driving force behind anything is because I just try to tap into where it's coming from and feel it out, you know?
Yeah, I hear you. I started small like that too, picking what I want to wear, just kind of standing in the closet and or even closing my eyes before while I'm doing something, brushing or anything, like what would I want to wear today? And just asking either picture will come through of what top to wear or even the food, like what does my body need today?
Yes.
Asking my body, what do you need today? What kind of food will feel comforting, warm, and really, what is the soul food today? Just coming to that. And that just, like slowly and steadily, the small things that you listen to, the guidance that you listen to, they start giving you more.
Yeah.
The more information comes through if you start listening. There are times I'm like, nope, I'm a very stubborn person. I'm not letting go of this. Nope, I'm not listening. No, no, no. Like
Yeah.
the book that I worked on, that was totally intuitively guided. And then I had to struggle and talk. It's like, you made me do this. Now bring the people.
Exactly.
I had to work hard. I'm not saying I didn't, but anything. And just like you said, in the limbo, it's like, same thing. If I'm given a guidance to this is your next step, and I hold on tightly and don't allow that message to go through, don't move forward with the guidance, then I get stuck in the limbo. Nothing goes right, nothing unfolds until and unless I move and work with that guidance.
But yeah, absolutely. And in the world of spirituality, we're often told or asked to be up here, high vibes, high
Yeah.
frequency. But I've learned that unless you can anchor and ground and be in the body, because we are humans,
Yeah.
yes, we're multidimensional beings of light, but we're in a human form. We're
Body.
inhabiting a human body, and it requires us to attend to it. It requires us to learn the signs that come up, what we feel, how it shows up, what comes through, what is ours as the body, and what is ours as the higher mind.
Mm-hmm.
How is this different from then, as we were talking earlier? How is this different from outsourcing your knowing? How is tapping into your higher guidance different than outsourcing it to like a teacher or Google or whatever? You know, how is that different? Do you have a feeling?
Well, if we look at even spirituality, everybody has their own way. Like, people that have been doing this work for years, again, I connect to the teaching so much so more than the person himself or herself. For example, I really love and I've really grown from messages of Dr. Wayne Dyer. But there was one podcast that he talked about and he didn't understand, where he talked about Bhagavad Gita, and he talked about, he didn't understand, but at the same time he's like, no, that's not right, because why would a god talk about war or going into war? And I think that um that message I didn't connect with. And so again, telling myself that that is his viewpoint, and just because he didn't dive deeper into the understanding of where and what that message was in the scriptures, he took it on a different understand or perspective.
Mm,
And so kind of disconnecting with that message, but not other messages that changed and transformed my life. So I don't know
yeah.
if that answered the question in terms of, difference between outsourcing versus what was the or intuitive guidance.
Hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
like still coming back to asking yourself in terms of, I connect with this
Hmm.
message.
Yeah. I think what I find as a difference is that we are not the body.
Yeah.
And when we're tapping into higher guidance, our own higher guidance, right?
Mhm.
From our higher self, our higher perspective, is still ourselves,
Mhm.
is still us in a different time space reality
Mhm.
where the perspective of the higher self is expanded. And therefore, what I find as different is when I only look to someone to provide me with the steps of where to go,
Mhm.
and I take that internally and I say, are these my steps to go? I am still tuning into the self, right? A lot of people confuse tapping into the higher self or understanding as outsourcing your
Mhm.
guidance. But again, for me, the difference is we're not the body. We are within an aspect of us is housed in this body, but our self is completely much larger. So for me, when we're tapping into the higher aspect of who we are, that is where the inner guidance comes in. Because even though I'm saying I'm tapping into, and it seems outwardly, it is the aspect of me that can see a lot better, right? It is the aspect of me that is expanded by nature, expanded by its proximity to the divine, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I was trying to see where you felt in that line of thinking, because there's so much that is talked about okay, so if we're outsourcing, if we're tapping somewhere else, does that mean we're outsourcing our knowing? But there's a different flavor to that, for lack of a better word, you know?
I totally agree with you in what you said in terms of just our expansive self and how we connect to the higher self and the divine that we are already.
Mhm. Yeah. What would you think the biggest advice you can share with someone about, I don't know how to stop outsourcing. I'm leaning on the external to constantly guide me. How do I start? Where can I begin to tap into or connect to the divine within, the answers within?
Right now, I feel that when you say in a simple word is like how do you stop outsourcing, I think that you then have to go within yourself and asking yourself again that question of who am I really. I am not that what other people are saying about me. Then who am I? And if you're not the label, who am I? And so I would really suggest to some of my clients that I give is doing the mirror work, which Louise Hay has promoted, is really looking into your eyes because your eyes are window to your soul. And if you look in the mirror, you really, I don't know how many people, I know I didn't look really into my eyes. You would just kind of look on the surface. When you look into your eyes, that is a different feeling altogether. And it gives you that depth. And really ask yourself, and just doing that, asking yourself, telling yourself that you love her or him. So I would look in the mirror and said, Hemali, I love you. Hemali, I love you 10 times. And then I would say, Himali, I'm sorry. It depends on what's going on at the time. I'm really sorry for not standing up for you. I'm really sorry for allowing someone to step over you. Please forgive me, Himali. Please forgive me. And I thank you. I thank you for still breathing and still
Yeah.
standing strong, whatever that is that comes through. And it may seem funny. When I first started, I would like laugh when I would say things like that. But then, really, in the seriousness, I mean, I could not even go past Himali, I love you.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just
Absolutely.
crying. And the more you do this work, it's like you'll see. And then realizing that always think about you are not what other people say about you. You are not that. It's their perception from who they are. So when you think about someone else, it's all about you, never about them.
Mhm.
So come back to I am not what other people say about me. You
Yeah.
tell me, what do you think? What
Um,
would you tell people?
tell them what has worked for me. And that is to forgive yourself for where you're
Yeah,
at, to
yeah,
realize that you can only do the best that you can at any given moment.
yeah.
And it is when you bring that into awareness and release any source of like, attachment or guilt about second guessing, about handing over your inner authority. Just forgive yourself and take some time. Find out what it is, where you want to go. Find out what moves you. Find out what the truest expression of your authentic self is. What is that? And then start leading your life from that point. It will always start with that question. Be in your body, feel yourself. When you're hearing someone you really look up to talk, explore what your body's bringing up. Is it tension? Is it fear? Is it a
Hmm.
traumatic experience? Everything, acknowledge it, but then question it. Take time to question it and strive to do that for yourself, not for anybody else's sake.
Yeah.
You are your best guide. You will always be your best guide. We just have to dismantle the systems that we have taken on. And the best way I could do that was to tap in to what is my body experiencing with any
Hmm.
given message? How does that resonate for me? How do I want to move forward with this information? And that's okay. It's not a race. We're not competing. We're all going to reach the same destination. We just really have to allow it to be okay.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Well, thank you it's like you have to give yourself permission to be who you are. It's okay to be who you are. So,
Always, always.
yeah.
Yeah. This was great.
Be kind to yourself, love yourself. That's the most important thing.
Yes. And that's all we have. Thank you so much for being here
Thank
with us.
you. See you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.
If there's one thing to sit with from today, you are your best guide. You always have been. We just have to dismantle the systems we've taken on and give ourselves permission to be who we are. It's not a race. We're not competing. We're all going to reach the same destination. We just have to allow it to be okay. Thank you for being here with us. If this episode moves something within you, please share with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe wherever you're listening and leave a review. It helps more people find this space. Find us on all your favorite social media platforms. And remember, you already are what you're looking for. Trust your insight, act with purpose, and stay in your knowing.
Everything I held it was always there, always there, always there.